is essentially running around. Live classes, learning content, online assessment, and how do you manage your stakeholders at this point of time? And I'm going to talk about each one of them, and through that also share what we are doing at FlipLearn by enabling schools, teachers, students, parents on a daily basis in bringing them together while they, go through this journey, this new journey of creating learning together. So when you look at live classes, I think the key point really is how much, okay? Are we really creating cinema halls here? So how much is important? Also, very critically, it's an integral aspect of FlipLearn. The idea to create a safe live class is important. I think more and more people are going on live class. The bigger question is it safe? How do you ensure that your classroom stays intact, so on, which we'll show in a while. So the question is how many? I personally believe that you should not look at too many barring sessions every day for a child, because this is not a cinema hall phenomena. The environment is very, very synthetic in a lot of ways. The second thing essentially about live classes is safety. How do you enable safety for your children while they are online beaming? Third, and very important part that very few people are talking about is, how do you expect educators who, although do present every day inside their classrooms, to suddenly become camera-friendly presenters? While we expect everybody to just switch on the video and get on with things, it's not very easy even for normal professional players to actually switch it on and do it. So we need to be conscious about the fact of what we are putting them into, and how teachers with their own, just like children have their own, levels of learning, teachers have their own level of comfort in terms of their own expression in front of a camera. How do we balance out that for them? And that is why it does not do by just running live classes on a platform or something. All these four elements have to play in tandem with each other. Then we come to, let's say, learning content. And are we really pushing our teachers? I see a lot of teachers who are right now saying, oh, I need to, make a content, I have to show a presentation tomorrow. So on one hand, I'm running to create content. On the other hand, I'm getting ready to present it. And it is just becoming too much of a pressure even on the educators beyond a point. And that is why it is important that can we kind of curate a high quality learning content that both teachers and students can access to, and obviously add their own elements to it, attach their things, whatever are their personal aspects, make it, customize it. But can you give them something that's ready made to start off, so that it's not a pressure really that every hour I'm rushing to, prepare for another hour that's going to happen. And third part comes to this assessment piece. Now, you've had a live class, you've tried to teach them, you've tried to share and beam something to them, to the children. But now what do you do? Now, when you want to ask as a teacher, this is a basic fundamental thing. Even now, Tanya, a basic thing of presenting on a webinar is, if I was in a crowd right now, I would be seeing nods and I would be seeing people asking, and I can ask a question, right? But how do you get an affirmation from the people on what they are looking at? What do they want essentially? And that is why I think what is critical is the assessment piece. An online assessment is not just about MCQs. An online assessment could be subjective questions as well. Can there be systems that can automate that checking? We at FlipLearn do that for teachers to automate subjective questions. Short answer questions also happen. Can you give them a question bank and allow them to add? Okay, because no question bank can ever, fulfill the desires of a teacher. They would always have questions of their choice and things that they would want to add. So do you allow that as a platform? I believe we allow that at FlipLearn for teachers to engage and create their own piece. And then the idea is, it just does not stop at assessment. How do you give feedback to every child in the class, which happens naturally inside a classroom for us? If I got a 5 out of 10, now how do I reach out to each one and tell them what happens when you get a 5? What do I want you to do at 7? The beauty of an online learning system is this, that a lot of things that you can do in a manual class of 40, 50 children, online learning systems can help you to do that. So today we have systems that can, give a specific feedback to a specific ability of children or specific performance scores of children. You can give them different assignments. You can reach out to their learning styles differently. You can reach out to their intelligences differently if you're looking at an MI kind of a plan. And it allows you to play a lot of things that otherwise on a manual level are not possible. And the fourth, and the very important one, how do you take care of your stakeholders? And when I say stakeholders, it's everybody. You've got the parents, you've got students, you've got teachers, you've got school heads, you've got IT heads, you've got every set of stakeholders here who are working day and night and still want to understand what is happening. And that is why I believe cohesive systems come into play. A system that I log in and can tell me, okay, today these many classes happened, these many tests happened, this is how my class 7th is doing, this teacher has done so much. I need dashboards to pick up and I need them handy essentially, right? As school heads. Similarly, as parents, you know, my school is doing something, and some message is coming, but actually what is happening to my child? Where is my child's performance? I'm only interested in my child and not the 50 other kids. So how do you enable that to really happen? These are the critical things that I believe any online learning system should really look at. And if Piyush, we can log in quickly into the Fliplearn site right away to show these 4 facets very, very quickly of showing what content is like, how can assessment happen, how can feedback go. So when you log in, and this is a teacher login essentially, you click on the first one which says Fliplearn Prime. We have a similar app for the students who get access to the content along with the teacher. But right now showing you a teacher version because teachers get access to all classes and all grades. You can pick up any subject that you wish. So we're just showing you that online learning is not about essentially just science and maths. It is about actually enabling you to learn any subject that you wish for. Let's log in again. Cube. And we click on Learn. We click on the Fliplearn Prime. So like we showed you about, let's say class 11, that's just show you the spread of the subjects, pretty much everything from sociology to economics to maths. And like I said, give some ready-made content to teachers to play on, and then they can obviously add their own thing. Content that is segregated topic-wise, chapter-wise. And if you click on a topic, can also tell you variety, because it is online content is not just about
any subject. Divya? I'm sorry, just a quick question.
Pretty much every subject, Anna. And you know, it's also online learning is not about just animations and online tests. There are a lot of variety of modules you can give to your teachers and students both. You can give diagram maker supports of stroke by stroke, or you can give one-page synopsis of a chapter as topic synopsis. You know, you want a summary of a thing. Let us say this is a topic synopsis. What are the top 10 things to remember out of a chapter? Okay, you can cull that out, give it to the teacher so that she can use it as a part. You can give a graphic organizer as a summary piece and all. So you could do that. You can get the best web links. You know, let's say here is a mind map that we were seeing. These are the web links that you see. So the idea is, you know, you want your child to explore the concept further. What are the best websites to go to? Okay, so that he lands up at the same place. You don't like to read paragraphs of information. I can give you a quick flow chart of what the whole chapter is about. And obviously you've got animations. You've got like state-of-the-art animations that, you know, you can play around with and put it, etc. that can explain the concept in 3D material. And they would play in, and, you know, you can further push it out, etc. So the idea is, for me, always, you know, you have to help the educator and you have to help the learner. You have to give a system. You don't have to take away, but you have to really, you know, armor them up to have the right kind of, you know, arsenal to really work through it. Now I have so much of content, and my children obviously have something very fantastic as assessments on their panel that they can do quick assessments about every chapter. They can have performance graphs about it, etc. We'll show you a little later. But this is about the content that you can run around with. And coming to the big part of the whole story, and that is about how do you create a homework, now my children are online, how do I send them homework? So let us say, if we just quickly create a homework here, just like in the school, every teacher gets allocated to a particular class and grade and subject. You create that, go to your course that you want to create it in. And let us go to courses, Piyush, and let's create one in class 8 for the teacher. Yes, anywhere that you feel like, we'll make a quick homework. So this is a teacher that has access to class 8, all subjects. Now, all you need to do is click and add an activity, and you can do a lot of things here. You can see, you can do a homework, a quiz, you can see a Zoom meeting as well. So we've embedded the whole live conferencing within the app to keep it safe for the children and the parents and teachers to work through. But we're going to do a quick homework. And you give a name to a homework very quickly. You put a description to it. And then you do stuff like you would do inside your class. You can give instructions even using your voice. You don't have to type a description to a homework. You click on the mic and you can record your audio and give it. This is very interesting in vernacular languages. Your children want to hear your voice at home. They would love to hear the instructions to the person that they connect to. So you could do that. You could quickly schedule it. Piyush will go to the scheduler. And you can decide, when does this homework appear, till what time will it stay available. So basically today I'm sitting, I have some time, I can create 4-5 assignments and keep them enabled, right? I can make it available till tomorrow. I can define if there's a time limit to it. You can design a grace period to it if you want to. So you can enable things just like you would want your children to work the way at home, just like they do inside the classroom. Coming to the point of this overall feedback, very interesting. How do you give feedback to children when they are at home? You can define grade boundaries and say that, okay, everybody who's nearing 100% gets excellent maybe, okay? But everybody who's got maybe 0 to 60%, okay, can get a message of, you need to study hard. Maybe give them a remedial assignment. Half of the children in this country are getting promoted without even a final exam. So if you want to bench out your children, you can do that. Maybe your assignment is a Khan Academy video that you can attach a link to. So you could do anything in the world. The idea of the platform is about liberating and not people sticking to the content that the platform provides. The idea is you can add your own things or get anything from the web that works for you. Okay. You can do specialized features like restrict access. You can choose which children do what first. If you want them to watch a video before doing this homework, it can force that restriction down. If you want to send different assignments to different kids, it can do that as well.
It so can different assignments to, let's say, all 50 kids, if you want to specialize everyone.
Yes, wow. Yes. So you can add a restriction like user profile you see over here.
Yeah.
So if you click on that, if you've made user groups, you can take a ID of the children, the ID number, and then you can name it on one person, a different assignment can go. It can do that as well. So it's quite interesting so that way. Sorry?
It's so detailed.
See, the idea is the human communication is that detailed essentially, okay, inside the class, and that we have to do. For the paucity of time, I'll request Piyush to just quickly remove the restrictions and we quickly add one question and just show you how it runs through, okay? Just for the purpose of saying. Now, when I talked about questions, I always said, give her a question bank at least. So I always say, give teachers question banks. I can give it to you in written. You'll never be able to satisfy, but you can give them something that they can work through with it. I think we picked up English comprehensive language skills. Piyush, let's add our own question. So let us say there is no question here, like now that we saw. So you click on a new question and we will allow you to do a variety of questions here. Multiple choice, true and false, short answers, essays. Let's add it. And we make our own question, okay? So let us say, give a number very quickly. Let's make a question. And we go down. And now let us say, you know, typical definitions, you can change the marks, etc. You can go down, really play around. You can click on an answer 1. Now you give reference answers to the system. What do you expect is the answer to a definition that you're really asking? And you can, one of the answers has to be about 100% so that the system can ref check against that, you know, how the child is really performing. Or let us say there's another answer. And again, you can give a feedback. And then we can give another option where a child says, okay, it's an app. It's not really wrong, but it's not really maybe the best answer that you looked at. So you can maybe give a 40%. And you can give many reference answers. About 6 possible reference answers can be given for a system to check it. I think, Piyush, let's go out now. So the idea that I'm showing you, Tanya, is that as a teacher, you have the whole platter available to you to create a homework of your choice, to give a feedback of your choice, and actually save it and run it. And as your children attempt, you will have graphs and reports available for them. Maybe, Piyush, we can go to the grade section and show some reports here. So let us say, you know, we're looking at, this is a quick class 8th English. And if you scroll down, these are some random children that have been put in. And as you scroll right, if they've attempted a course, their marks would come in for every exercise that they have done. Okay, we've just made a demo, but we haven't executed it yet. So you don't see any marks over here. The idea is the system that can enable you to present that entire piece together. Okay. I think if we can choose a class 8 science, Piyush, I think we'll see some marks over there. Nice. Okay, Piyush, I think let's move from here.
One question that has come up. Very interesting that I want to just take it up. So Miss Sarika Sharma has this question that does this app allow all 50 teachers if purchased by the school, or it will allow, let's say, fewer teachers?
It's a full school implementation, Tanya. Every teacher, even if there are 100 teachers, 5,000 kids, everybody gets access. Okay, and everybody comes on a system. And the other beautiful part of it is basically for us to ensure that we are device agnostic, which means you don't need to have a smartphone or a smart tab to use it. We are right now doing a demo on a web forum. Okay. So even if you're a parent with a desktop at home with a Wi-Fi connection or an internet connection, you can use it. So the idea has always been that everybody should be able to reach out and create. So these are some demo sessions that have happened. So you can create conferencing from here itself. Piyush, can we show creating a conferencing here, please? Because, you know, one of my big things about conferencing has always been, it's not safe, Divya, somebody is entering the session, somebody is taking away the track from the teacher, she does not know how to control if 50 kids are there, etc. So we've embedded
a common login, or everybody gets a separate one?
Everybody gets a separate login, and that's how you track everybody's activity, performance, how it is happening, etc. And that is how, when we show you the student app, the parents also download it and keep it, because we allow 2 extra devices for it to work. So they know exactly what the school is saying and, you know, how it is happening. So maybe, Piyush, we can just say quickly, we're doing... So now when you're doing a live conferencing, see, one thing is you go to a platform like Zoom, create a session and share the link with the world, right? That is when it is insecure. If you're reaching out and your passwords are out of the meeting, etc., then it is really something that is troublesome. But when you create something within the Fliplearn app, it is encapsulated by the Fliplearn security. Only people who have the app can access it. Only within the app, when it is enabled, it will enable, etc. And let us say, if we kind of create something like this quickly, Piyush, if you can just say save and we start the meeting. So all it will do is, it will create a very quick thing for the teacher, which will say, start meeting. There you see, this is the session that has started. So when a teacher is inside the Fliplearn app, she clicks on her Zoom session, and from within the Fliplearn, the Zoom will open. Right now, obviously, he cannot do that. He's already on a Zoom session with us. So it can't open another one right now. But the idea is you encapsulate it. There is no ID available to a child to pass it out. Okay. It will only show as a clickable piece of saying online class. So there cannot be any people who are not known. And secondly, we obviously enable all the basic controls. Always have a waiting room. Always ensure you admit people when you want to. Don't allow chat to happen. Don't allow children to rename. And we train teachers when you work with. So when I come to stakeholders, see, the idea is all about stating how the stakeholder is actually, going to work through. And Piyush, if we can quickly go to the child's interface, because we showed what is happening at the teacher and what the child is seeing. So the child sees it as standard activities. I have to do a class, okay? The class has to happen, etc. and all that. Or these are my learning elements, or my teacher has given me a homework, etc. So if we just join in, yeah, let's just log in. So it's a beautiful app. It gives you all the subjects. It gives you 2 modes, learning and practice. When you practice, you have, quick questionnaires that you can do. When you have learning, you have all those learning materials, animations for all the subjects that are there. Okay. And then the practice sessions happen. Do you see this FPS? This is how every school special tab is created. So the child can learn and practice on its own. This is how the school name will come in over here. And when the child clicks on it, he knows this is what my teacher has given. This is what I need to focus upon. Okay. And when I say, okay, in courses, etc., what is there for me? Let's say class 8th English we can do, or class 8th science we can do. So we work out, maybe we can pick up something. We can pick up the science one. We click in, you can see these are the things. Now it says TMS VC demo, attendance is mandatory. If you click on something like this, now this is an old one that has happened, but now it says attendance is mandatory, but you are unable to join it this time because the time has elapsed out of this meeting, etc. Okay, but this is it. He cannot get a login ID, he cannot share something, etc. There are homeworks that are there that are available as a part of the test and all that. And those are there, right?
We have one question also that's coming up, very interesting question that you are the best person to answer. So Miss Vandana Bahel wants to know, can a child purchase Flip Learn independently to practice at home, or is this something that has to be brought by the school authorities, bought by the school authorities?
We are both ways available. So we can be purchased by retail, but directly by children on their own. So we have about 3.5 million users, Tanya, that are all independently working on the platform, etc. And we have school pieces also. Okay. So this is, I think, the session Piyush had just made Atom, and attendance is mandatory, as you can see. When the child can only join a meeting, you can see there is no link of the Zoom. Okay, he cannot share anything with the with other children or unknown people to join it. If he clicks on join, it will just ask them to get into the browser and open it. So it's a very safe environment to play with, something that you work with teachers, etc. And the idea is very simple. Can we go back to the presentation, Piyush? Yeah, now if we go to the next slide, Piyush. Yeah, so our idea is simple. We do all classes. I don't believe this entire country is just about science and maths. Every subject needs its own, backing and everything. We have gamified quizzes. These are like video games. Adrenaline rush to the learning for a child. You have performance dashboards. These are very amazing. So when a parent also has it on their hand, they can click and exactly know, not just maths mein 45% aaye hain, but they exactly know that in maths, in fractions, division of fractions is something my child is struggling on. It can pinpoint to that level, build you, a path to really work from there. It's anytime, anywhere. It's agnostic to a device. You can work on mobile, tablet, laptops, desktops, anything. Windows, iOS, Androids. It's completely independent of that. The other marquee feature that we have, Tanya, is we give 1 grade up and 1 grade below free to the child. So when you buy a subscription of class 8th, class 7th and class 9th is complimentary, because we believe the child should have the ability to go back, pick up a concept, brush it, and work through that. There's organized study plans. Teachers control the entire learning. They can schedule, they can tell the child to read a particular thing, come back. then come into the session. So that is how it all kinds of work. On
one more very interesting question about
please.
So Ms. Sarika Sharma has this question where she wants to ask, will the performance dashboard, will child not be getting a ranking? So I think basically what she means to ask is, how do you rank the children on
so when the schools do it, because we have school basis specific grade report cards that are there, schools get the ranking formats with them. Okay. And then they can publish it to the children. But otherwise, on the performance dashboard feature that we give, that is a personalized learning chart for a child in his own piece, etc. We don't want to rank it. We just want to tell him his journey, essentially, how he's doing in everything. But when the when the schools buy it, that is when a comparative ranking is there. And that ranking is available in the dashboards otherwise for the school that are there.
Okay. Fair enough.
And Piyush, if you can just go one further. Yeah. So you can do homework, you can create your own test, you can create your own content, you can check performance of your class across tests, you can check scores, you can restrict access to content. I think more and more I'm working with schools, more and more they want to customize and they want to say, no, the child should only